We begin with breaking news out of New York. Reports that American financier Jeffrey Epstein has died by suicide. He was facing multiple sex offense charges and being held in a Manhattan jail. Let's bring in Natasha Fatah, who is on the story for us, really just breaking the last hour or so. Natasha, what do we know?
John, at this stage, we've got so many reports coming from American media indicating that this incredibly wealthy, well-known financier, Jeffrey Epstein, who was being held in a Manhattan jail cell, has died and reportedly killed himself. So the latest report is coming from the Associated Press, and they say the Manhattan Medical Examiner's Office has confirmed that he is dead. What still remains up in the air is how he died. Now, all of these other media are saying that he has killed himself. CBC News has not independently confirmed these details. We're trying to do so as we speak. There are producers making phone calls to the police right now. But if, in fact, he is dead, this is a dramatic conclusion to what was an incredible legal story. So remember that the 66-year-old was arrested on July 6th. He's being held for multiple charges of sex trafficking and conspiracy for reportedly running an underage female sex ring where he was selling young girls to wealthy politicians and celebrities for sex, and doing this in various parts of the country on his private jet and other locations. So there was a lot that could have been revealed, a lot of sordid details that could have come out about other individuals. And in fact, just last night, dozens and dozens of formerly unrevealed documents were unsealed by the court system, and they revealed 4 additional names of men who supposedly had sex with underage girls as a result of having friendships with Epstein. And they included Prince Andrew of Britain, the very famous lawyer Alan Dershowitz. We should note that Dershowitz has denied the allegation, as have many of the men whose names have come up in all of this. So worth noting that Epstein had pleaded not guilty and had asked for bail. He did not receive bail. And then just 3 weeks ago, I believe, he had been placed on suicide watch because he had been found unconscious in his jail cell with injuries that seemed to indicate that he had tried to kill himself at that time. So the question is becoming, if you're on 24-hour suicide watch, how does something like this happen? In a downtown Manhattan correctional facility. This, of course, a case that goes back in terms of him having been convicted about 10 years ago, serving a sentence. Many criticized him for that light sentence, a senior Trump official, cutting that deal with Epstein in Florida. So with all this going on, what happens next? Well, we have yet to get official word on this, but it's altogether likely that the criminal charges against him would be dropped because there's no one to charge anymore. So there's a lot of people out there probably breathing a sigh of relief that their name is not going to come up, that it's not going to be dragged through a trial system anymore. But there are those other issues that you mentioned because, yes, a senior official within the White House or within the Trump administration did have to step down. And there are those ongoing investigations into how various police forces were investigating Epstein when these allegations came up years and years ago. This was someone who kept coming up with allegations around running a sex trafficking ring. So there is some residual effect, even if Epstein is gone. And again, we still have to confirm that independently. Even if he is gone, there's still a lot of digging that's going to happen, and there's still documents that are going to be unsealed. So we'll wait and see how this whole thing develops. And potentially hundreds of victims now will not have their day in court. But it's possible that more victims will come forward because they're not afraid that he will penalize them in some way or someone connected to him, because that is something we had heard for weeks, that there are more young women. They're just too afraid to come forward. Maybe they'll be less afraid now. We'll see. Thanks, Natasha. You're welcome.